Side by side, I can feel it, it burns like fire. Worlds collide, an unstable landscape, side by side, but that's what this man digs. Be it might, and unlikely allegiance, we will fight because that's the best defense. No turn. I can see an innate desire, sword in hand, warriors side by side. I can feel it, it burns like fire. Worlds collide, an unstable landscape, side by side, but that's what this man digs. Be it might, and unlikely allegiance, we will fight because that's the best defense. No turning back, for such is our path. Is clear as we ride against a dark empire. By my soul, may the last thing they hear be the roar of this raging fire. Listen, be the savagery mindset. Not today, we'll let loose and find it. Brutal will define our reaction. Rip out the throat of each one in defection. No turning back, for such is our path. This day we find the glorious death.
Okay, that is the intro. So of course
Gooding Services has a bundle.
We'll move that. That video is from Doug Shea, and Together, a Rippaverse tribute. Fantastic video. Love using it in the intros. And of course, the first one was Norfolk Up, Glorious Step, that really epic single that came out in collaboration with Dan Fask and Eric July. And I think since we did get a chart on the Billboard, even though it kind of like snubbed them, hopefully we're getting a full EP from Norfolk. Absolutely epic. That first song is really cool. Again, I'm going to keep emphasizing this, that with the end of Item number one, their lyrics not just being make believe, there's actual stuff in these lyrics that are going to happen in the comics. So keep that in mind. Of course, we got some people in the chat. Of course, Hail to Garfield's Bizarre Adventure says he's looking forward to Horseman number one. Hector going back to the vigilante lifestyle and the repercussions will be interesting. They certainly will be. And since Horseman is beginning fulfillment today, August 8th, I haven't gotten my shipment notification. If it doesn't happen at the end of by the end of the day, I'm sure it'll be Monday. So definitely will be reviewing Horseman number one this month. Whenever I get it, I imagine people will start getting it sometime this week. Some people might even get it this weekend if you live in Texas. I probably are going to get it this weekend, which will be really exciting. But definitely, I imagine a lot of those day one, those early orders are going to be coming out next week. But I did change my address after I put my day one order in, so they might have bumped me back in the queue. But whenever I get it, I get it. And of course, I will review it like I have done with every single Rippaverse book. And it's going to be really exciting to see how Hector deals with the fallout from Welcome to Flores Park now that the Alpha Corps are aware of him. And of course, he's going to have someone who's going to encourage him to get back into the game. So I think what we'll do is we'll go over a bunch of Horseman stuff. And of course, as people start coming into the chat and wanting to talk to me about stuff, if that does happen, then we can. But I figure we're going to start with this trailer, the Welcome to Flores Park trailer, because it's a really epic animation. So for this one, I'm going to make it full screen. I didn't even check for the shipping notification. I mean, I typically, I'm on top of my emails on all of that. Mike has bad news. And of course, welcome to the chat. Hopefully you had a good week. Lovely weekend. Friday is the one day a week I don't have to go to work now because I have two jobs. But so I do like my Fridays, but whatever. I got to do what you got to do to pay the rent, right? Of course, we're going to watch this video right here. This is the launch trailer for Welcome to Flores Park, that animated pilot. So we're just going to watch the animated pilot part, and then we'll go into Horseman number one specifically. But definitely want to make this all about the Horseman today, since I don't really have anything else to talk about. Since the release schedule has slowed a little bit. It's not like it was like early spring or like really late winter. Like the first half of March was just ridiculous. We got two statues. We got Yaira 2, we got Great War Separation number one. Bloodroof number one came in February. It was a ridiculous time for me and absolutely loved it. But I'm going to go into watching this video right here.
Who the hell is this guy? What's he want? Where's he come from? After every soldier I have with him and he kicks their ass. Outman. A gun. And he walks away clean. With my money. Now what are y'all gonna do about that? Turn us loose, Tuna.
Let us do what we do.
Okay, so that is the horse. That's a really short trailer, but it's probably some of the best animation we've seen out of Ripperverse Studios. I watched that so many times when it launched, wasn't even funny. But of course, we got Student of God in the chat who's saying rock on to you as well. Glad you're able to show up. We got Zayd Comics as well. Going to be starting their stream in about 15 minutes. I know I used to do 6 p.m. and that worked really well because I could get in like a hour stream or so, which around the length I like to keep this, and you guys would start streaming. But that for me, it's not working right now since I have to push more stuff into Friday, so I have to set it back an hour. Hopefully, maybe I can get back to doing 6 p.m. one day, but 7 p.m. is the time we'll be streaming, and that does step on the toes of other people because John's Long Box is streaming right now as well. So I do like that 6 p.m. time slot because it's after people get off of work, but it's before all of the other streams. But for now, I got 8 people here, which is pretty nice. I did tag people when I made the post, which I think I'll keep on doing. So that way people like the Saskas retweeted it, which is really nice of them. I had Andrew retweeted as well. So we got Andrew in the chat. Has been working for a while, approving the final pages on the unannounced redacted project. Very interesting. Can't wait to read that one. And also really cool to have Andrew in the chat as well. Hopefully he enjoys him, not NDAing himself, because I think if he comes on, he's just going to NDA himself. But I agree with Garfield. That's a really clean fight animation. I really hope we do get that full Horseman show eventually. But let's see. We are going to go into since I don't have I want to watch actually we can watch the Horseman #1 the launch trailer. So of course, since Horseman #1 is fulfilling, we do have the Horseman #1 trailer, which I think we are going to watch right now. So I'm going to on full screen, actually, the wrong one. I'm going to do this, and then we will watch this, and then we'll go into the collection page, and then we'll just speculate wildly on what we think is going to happen in Horseman #1 since it's right around the corner. Yeah, unlikely about to make some dinner. Well, you have a good dinner. I'm gonna have dinner after this stream. So I probably ought to have eaten before. I had some fudge and some chocolate milk, so it's been really nourishing. But I'll definitely have like an actual like proper dinner. Let's see. So that Kanan at cover A for Horseman 1 is easily my favorite. I love the movie poster covers. Oh yeah, are you talking about Horseman #1 or Welcome to Florida Park? But anyway, we'll watch this and then we'll go into the trailers. Then we'll go into all of that. So
Where did you go? I know you didn't just up and leave. A man like you has too much work to do in Flores Park to just disappear on me now. You want to finish what you started. I don't know what stopped you, but I can help you get back on the proverbial horse. And to ride again. I can give you the means to take your operation to the next level and wipe the scum of this city off the face of the earth permanently. I love what you do. I never want you to stop. I am your biggest fan. Notice me. I'm going to make it impossible for you to ignore. Notice the billboard. Are you the Horseman? Text yes to 88388. It's only a matter of time until curiosity gets the better of you, and we can meet. Imagine what we can accomplish together. Get back to me, horse. I know you need this as badly as I do.
So yeah, that's the trailer there. I think everything else is just. I mean, we got this like I think it's like the cover B. You got the rest of like that really creepy music there. We'll put myself back on the screen there, and then what I will do is I will actually get like the just to share the browser. So like So that way I can actually I can go there and I can actually switch stuff around very easily. And we'll X that there. We've got, yes, the Horseman #1 collection. This is the 56-page gritty vigilante comic by Chuck Dixon and Joe Bennett. Of course, the Welcome to Flores Park was 96 pages, gave us a lot of content for that. Absolutely fantastic introduction to the character. And #1 is going to really put us in a good place, it seems. So, of course, we had this character, and I will open in a new tab and we'll zoom in on a little bit. You can see him. He's the one who's doing the voiceover. Has a real Mark Hamill Joker vibe to that voiceover. Absolutely love it. Fantastic stuff from that. I think if we go into the log line, we get Cal Buxton is the name. I knew it was something like that. So Cal Buxton is putting out a billboard. Are you the Horseman? Of course, Hector responds out of his curiosity, and the story starts from there. And Cal is going to get Horse back into the game. That's his only desire. And of course, I believe, I would say Horseman wants to get back into the game. He does not like the criminal underworld. He loves being a vigilante to some degree. Kicking ass, taking names. I think that's very much part of what he likes to do. Not necessarily getting the money for buying things for himself. I think he just likes supporting, his nephew and his sister. Of course, I think that's the reason why he likes getting the money, and it's not necessarily as a means to enrich himself or have this material wealth. He just wants to feed his family, which is understandable. It would have been cool if he had a wife and kids, and that's the way he was going. That's the way it was. That would have made it a really interesting dynamic if he was, dealing with being a father instead of just being a father figure and a brother, being a husband and a father figure. And that's also a good thing for the culture as well. But I think, this family structure that the Horseman is in is nice as well. I guess it does have a bit more of a, less, I don't know, it's less prone to being formulaic, as people would say. But this really is going to be a new start for the Horseman, of course. Welcome to Flores Park introduces us to the character, and then this #1 is going to put Horseman in a position where he can just be a vigilante consistently throughout the ongoing series. Now, of course, I think Garfield was talking about cover A of Horseman #1. And of course, when Horseman #1's campaign launched, we were covering the covers. That's a real funny way to put it. But yes, this is Kanan White's cover. And this is, I would agree with Garfield, probably one of the best covers. But of course, when you look at it, stuff Kanan White draws, it's hard to say if, again, we'll do this full screen layout here. It's hard to say whenever we're looking at Kanan White covers, what is actually the best. Because he's just, everything he does, he knocks out of the park. And I've got so many, some of Kanan's posters are so epic. I've got this is my office space, the second bedroom of mine, but my bedroom where I do my sleeping and nothing else has a poster of Blood Roof by Kanan White. It's such a nice drawing. He's just such a fantastic artist, and really interested in figuring out. I mean, this doesn't look necessarily like Santuan, but of course you've got the Alpha Core there. So once Horse gets back into the game, Alpha Core is of course going to become aware of it. And if he's doing something, Cal Buxton is doing something as brash as putting out a billboard, they're going to see it and they're going to go up to Hector because they know who he is. They're going to say, Hector, you can't be talking to this guy. You're going straight. You're working a real job. You're not dealing with the criminals. You're going to let us and the police do that. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Cal Buxton navigates the Alpha Core and how Horseman does that as well. I think that's going to be the most interesting thing, as well as whoever this character is. And I think if we go to cover B, this is, of course, the Mike Miller cover. And of course, when Mike Miller did this cover, there was a lot of, surrounded by enemies. So we're going to introduce the 4 horsemen: Daltrey, Fat, Prissy, and Cal Buxton. So it's probably Fat who's the one character for that, that big one. I imagine that's his name. But this is the retro cover, of course. Absolutely do really like this one. Of course, I love the character box, and hopefully we keep seeing retro covers for basically every issue of the Horseman. We didn't get one for Norfolka. No, I think, yeah, no Norfolka, no Gooding retro cover. So hopefully, at least at one point during the limited series for Norfolka, we do get a retro cover. There's an upcoming poster which I dare say is far and away the coolest poster we've put out by a whole lap. That is a big one to say because I've got at least some of them. So you can see I've got my Yaira poster right there. I've got the Isom versus Fontano one, and it's so hard. I hate pointing the camera, but if you can see, I've got the Gooding Services one by Kane and White as well, and I really love that one. Package as low as $49.99 a month. I love how it's set up like an ad. So I've got these 3 posters, and they're not stuck on the wall the best. Like they're not perfectly level. Like since I don't want to drill too many holes, I do want to get the security deposit back. So I don't want to have to get like too much like Bondo or whatever drywall filler and fill them all the holes. Well, there's holes and stuff on the walls from the previous tenants anyway, so it's not like a luxury apartment where the landlord's like really anal about that stuff. So I'm fortunate there. But anyway, I want to leave this place in good condition when I leave it. But for now, like I've only been here for a month, so I don't want to even think about moving because I feel like I just moved in. I haven't even actually fully moved in because like there's still some stuff I want to set up, but I'm just like, oh, do I really need to? I'm like too lazy to. But anyways, we're talking about comic books. We're not talking about my apartment, man. But anyway, yeah, the posters are all really cool. And I finally hung them up because they were in tubes in my old room for like months and months and months. And I was like, well, my room is too small to hang them up. And, I was planning on this big move that I was doing. I was talking about it for so long with you guys. That like when I finally did it, I got a bunch of poster things. I started hanging them up. I got like the Zalen poster in my kitchen. And that's a really cool one by Kane and White. So, like, when you say, like, it's the coolest poster, I mean, that is, like, a big one to live up to because there's a lot of, like, all the posters I've seen have been absolute bangers. I'm sure, it's going to be a banger as well. And I don't have every single poster. I just have the posters that came with all the bundles I got because I just bought bundles indiscriminately. And I'm not sure if I have... like the Isom poster. I have the Yaira poster from the one campaign, but I'm unsure if I could find the Isom one. Maybe it got lost in the move because I lost a bunch of stuff. I lost my Steam Deck. I brought it with me and I lost it. So that's an excuse to buy a Steam Deck OLED, which I'll never use. But whatever. That's whatever. It is what it is. But anyways, yeah, this is my most interesting things with the Horseman. So of course, we've got the character of the Horseman who's pissing off a better class of hoods these days. This is a one-man army. Of course, his unit in the army was the Horseman, and he's the last of them. So that's why he calls himself the Horseman. Of course, he's got the mantra or the mantle of dressing up like the Horseman. And of course, that I think is probably the coolest part of his character design is the horse aesthetic. And of course, you got Batman, you've got Catgirl, or Catwoman, I should say. So, superheroes or characters being based around like animals is nothing new. But I think Horseman is really cool. And of course, it's got that like real, like brutish type of vibe. And of course, having like the knight logo on his chest, like you would see in a game of chess is honestly a really cool touch as well. So I love the character design. Of course, Joe Bennett knocks it out of the park every time he draws the character. And we can go to some more of that there art because this art is absolutely fantastic. And of course, we've got this stuff that looks like from the past, and I think I can get the if I can find it, like dropping stuff. But let's see here, because I'm going through. Sorry guys, I'm going through my my short box with all my reading copies, and I found it. So we've got get out of there. Oh, ooh, man, absolute disaster. If I ever say I have good production quality, I'm bearing false witness. But of course, this is cover D, this is cover D. This is the retro cover, the mass print cover of Horseman. It's probably one of my, this is a Joe Bennett cover, and it is a fantastic cover. And of course, I always love the feel of Horseman comic books. And I'm wearing my Horseman shirt right now to celebrate the occasion. I've got two. I got the blue one. I love the blue one, but this black one here, I think it's got Kanan art on it. Fantastic as well. But just just to show off like what I love, of course, Horseman #1. If you guys can't hear me too well, I apologize. I'm trying to show off the art as well. Starts off with that 1-page spread, and then we go right into this absolutely epic 2-page spread. Like it's just what a way to open a book, man, is with just the epic 2-page spread. And then, of course, Horseman's giving his context of like starting off in Drescher and then things going south with like those ninjas he's fighting. And then it's like, well, we got to move the family. So they move down to Forest Park. And then, of course, all the inventors who focusing around Tuna and the detectives. I forget their names because it got eliminated so quickly in that book, as well as Tuna, who a lot of, when I put out my review of Horseman, had Mike Partica, if I'm saying his name correctly, saying that Tuna is an underutilized character, which I would agree with, but I think he served his purpose, and I do hope we see like someone fish his body out of the pool and like turn him into like cyborg Tuna or zombie Tuna. That would be a really cool thing, and I would absolutely love to see that. That would be a fantastic thing. So Andrew, if you're lurking, write this down because these ideas are just pure genius from the mind of Joe. But yeah, I would love to see more Tuna. Of course, Tuna is going to be in the Saints and Sinners short story covering the SSWL by the Saska sisters, if I'm getting that correctly. So that'll be really cool. It will be, of course, before the events of Horseman Welcome to Forest Park, I should say. And of course, it'll be before Horseman #1, but Tuna, demise happens in Welcome to Forest Park. And of course, I'm going into spoiler territory, but Horseman's been out for almost a year at this point. Because that book, it launched in like September or August of 24, and it fulfilled in November, if I'm getting it correct. Oh man. Let's see. By the way, nice posters and statues back there. Yes, thank you, Garfield. And of course, I've got the Yaira statue. I've got the Isom statue. And these are just, 3 of the posters that I've got. I've also got the Great War Separation poster, like to my side. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure how well I can show it off. But yeah, you can see, you see like my second monitor there. So it's not really the best way to show it off, and I don't have like, I don't know, the way to access the character. Big baller. I'm not sure if I'm a big baller, but yeah, I got all these posters. I hung them up to make the place feel like my place. Which is nice, and of course I got a bunch of those sticky pads from Walmart, and only like one poster like fell, and it was like in the living room, so I had to like basically use the rest that I bought. I had to buy more to hang them all up. But they've been holding on together pretty well. Getting them into the frames was like pretty hellish. That was like, it took up a whole like most of a Saturday. So the Braxcast that I uploaded was like after that. I was a bit of a mess because of that. Which is why I said that Will Conrad drew Great War Separation, because it's that poster. It's drawn by Will Conrad. So his name was in my head. And I said, oh, Will Conrad drew Great War Separation when it's Jack Herbert. And of course, he did Alpha Core 1 cover B, which is an epic cover. I'm hearing some people are clamoring for a Spingy plushie. I'm one of them. I'm not opposed to that. And actually, one moment. I do have the Bloodroof plushie. Ooh, look at this. This is a nice plushie. I'm not like, I have, I also have, again, so I have the Badger plushie as well. So Badger is Common America, Carly Vander's pet capybara. So you can see he's got like, the Common America logo, his name Badger. So you've got the little Badger plushie. So I have some plushies, but yeah, this is definitely, this is a nice plushie. I like it. But like, I'm not like this person that got into Beanie Babies. But now the thing is Labubu's apparently. Pop Mart has these like Labubu's, and they'll do Labubu drops, and those are the plushies that everyone's obsessed with. And there are people who are going into debt to buy Labubu's. I did not go into debt to buy this Blood Roof plushie, and I think I'm going to get another one. So I think the giveaway is going to include the Blood Roof plushie. But when I get the Isom statue campaign fulfilled, and I get that mystery Dokumon card, because I ordered 2 of them. So I'm going to give one away. I'm going to offer it with some comic books as well. And I think I'll do free places. And then one will get the Dokumon card. They'll get a plushie. They'll get a book of their choice, because I have a bunch of extra books. Because I order so many, and I have like signed and graded copies of so many. So the ones that I have that are signed and graded, and the ones I have that are like extras of those, I'm probably going to be more willing to give away. So I probably won't be like any like gooding or anything. But it'll be like, Alpha Core, it'll be like Isom 2, stuff like that. And of course, the second and third will have like their pick of, books after the first one, gets it. And if I want anything, I was like, I just want the card and I want the plushie. That'll be okay. Let's see. So you got a Spingy plushie with wired arms for clinging. That would be really interesting. So I would not be unopposed to a Spingy plushie. And that's definitely something that should be launched with the full-on collection for the book. Because what I want more so than a plushie for Spingy is I want a Dirty Deeds limited series. Like get on it. Like if Eric didn't greenlight Evan and Caro to get a limited series out, like I said before, when the book came out, I was talking to Edwin about it. It was about like let's say 200 to 300 pages of comics, of Dirty Deeds comics, released over let's say 3 or 4 issues. Like Grey War Separation is going to be about that length. Norfolk Glorious Death is probably going to be about that length as well. So a limited series like that, I think, would be really, really cool. And there's definitely enough there that it justifies that. Of course, Evan's art is so fantastic. I just want to see more of it. So yeah, if you guys do not greenlight a Dirty Deeds series, and then of course you launch the Dirty Deeds collection and Dirty Deeds #1, and you can call it like Dirty Deeds, subtitle, insert subtitle here, because I can't come up with a good subtitle right now. And that can be the limited series run. And then if it's an ongoing series after that, then you can, of course, have like Dirty Deeds #1 that launches and takes place after the limited series. Or you can just launch as Dirty Deeds #1, and the first 4 issues can be a limited series. And then, number 5, let's say, could just be this, say, hey, we're doing an ongoing series because, the book, has been making a lot of money and the fans want it, which I think fans are going to want. But launching that Dirty Deeds collection with a Spingy plushie that has like opposable arms and stuff like that, maybe even some sort of like web shooter or something like that, would be a really cool thing to do. And I think that would be fantastic. But, don't just put the Spingy plushie on the store and no Dirty Deeds book. Like, make that part of the collection. That's more of an idea. And of course, I'm not sure if Andrew is saying this because like it's a thing that's happening, or it's a thing he wants to happen. So who knows? But that's an interesting thing. Let's see. So have you seen the Black Guide Club and Curse trailer cover reveal? Both look excellent. I have, Garfield. And in fact, if you watch, I believe, the last episode of Braxcast, I go over both of those cover reviews. So I have my printer, and my printer's over there. I just put more ink in it because it ran out of freaking ink, of course. And I printed those out because I'm going to be doing a lot of printing. So I'm going to buy a lot of printer ink. So I printed out those covers, and I covered them on Braxcast. And I believe, I'm not sure if I checked out the videos on Braxcast Live. They're pretty simplistic. The cover reveals, it's just like the zoom up and then the full cover. But yeah, I did see both of those. And of course, Garfield saying that he forgot, which is okay. It's okay. So, but yes, I did cover those. And they're fantastic covers. Don't know exactly who drew them. Let's see. So I'm being insufferable about bugging Caro and Eric for all of the Dirty Deeds things. I would be too if I had access to them. And of course, I would be like an order of magnitude more insufferable about haranguing Eric to write a Young Isom series that's drawn by Jack Herbert. That's my, like I said, that's my top of the wish list. Like, other than Alpha, I know Alpha Core 2 is happening. It's being colored. It's probably close to getting lettered at this point. So Alpha Core 2 is happening. So I'm not that concerned with getting more Alpha Core. But like I said, I want a Young Isom series drawn by Jack Herbert, and I'm going to keep on saying it until it happens. And if it doesn't happen, then I'm done with Rippaverse, man. I'm going to, like, throw it all in the garbage. I'm going to be done with Braxcast because you guys didn't do what I want and got me my Young Isom series. Because again, love the Young Isom statue. We're getting an Isom action figure by McFarlane Toys, and you're telling me we don't have a Young Isom series, especially when Jack did such a good job of drawing Isom and Harriet in Great War Separation #2. Like, come on, perfect. Like, all the elements are there. We got to make it happen, guys. We got to make it happen. Let's see. Also, will you guys do another Nick Weiser stream for Horseman 1? We do have a backroom chat in Twitter, like a DM group. So that's definitely something we ought to talk about. I would be able to do it like later Saturday night, probably like 9 o'clock my time, so 9 o'clock Eastern. And that would be, it might be a little bit late for them. So I mean, I could also probably just say, because my second job is pretty casual. If I said, hey, I need to leave like an hour or so earlier, one day, I think they would probably be fine with that. And I think like the place closes, like the kitchen closes at 7 anyway. So I could just get like out right at 7, be like, hey guys, like just give me like 7:30. And then they'd be like, oh yeah, that's fine. But anyway, yeah, no, I would not be unopposed to doing a Horseman #1 stream. It's just that we haven't talked about it. So the cards haven't fallen into place, but I would totally be up for it. It's just about lining up the schedules. That's really what it is when you're streaming or doing anything with anybody. Is like scheduling is the biggest like killer of any sort of collaboration. Yeah, so Sir Booksage is saying he's down for a Harriet Silman limited series. And he also said we definitely need more Dirty Deeds. I agree with both. But I think having a Young Isom series is what makes the most amount of sense. And you start with Isom's childhood. But of course, like having like, Harriet Silman, she is an accept. So it'd be interesting to like follow her story. So I'm not sure like a limited series would necessarily be justified for that, but maybe a couple of short stories in the Ripazine, or maybe like start off with a short story of the Ripazine. And if people really like that, no, I think they would. Then you could do a limited series. But like I said, a Young Isom series by Jack Herbert is what I want. That's I think what would really be cool, because there's a lot of stuff about Isom's character that we really do not know about, and I think it would be really well explained to us in a Young Isom series. Of course, starting sometime after his childhood. So probably, when he's like a high schooler, him getting into being Isom, and then it ends with that girl's death in Isom #2, with his fight with Shodrod. So ending at that point. So it's a definitive end point. So that's why it would be a limited series. And it would just be like a really good foundation for the character of Isom. And it would give us a really good exploration of Isom. And since we already have this launching pad established with Isom #1, and of course we have the Great War Separation, which is giving us a lot of foundational stuff as well, which I've heard, I think Resistance Publishing told me in my comments when I was reviewing either 1 or 2, I can't remember, saying that we that ought to have been the first book. And I can see the perspective, but like I said, I liked Isom 1 and all the other books being released before Great War Separation, and Great War Separation giving us that context. I feel like it makes it, it gives it more oomph, if that's what you want to say. Just have Isom 4, 5, and 6 focus on Isom's past. Call it the Young Isom arc. Garfield, I'm going to push back against you, because 4, 5, and 6 really ought to go into Isom's future and push him like forward. Like having it focus on the past, I think it's going to detract from the Isom series. If you do that, and having a Young Isom series specifically that just tells the story of Young Isom, and then you have the Isom ongoing series that tells us the story of the adult, mature Isom, I think would be the way to go. Of course, you can disagree with me. I'm not a dictator here. But I just don't think that would be a good idea to like use the Isom series to flash back to Young Isom, because it was justified in Isom 2, like as to why he quit. because that's something, that needed to be explained, pretty quickly. But doing that like all the time, it's going to detract from telling the ongoing story of Isom, which honestly needs to happen more. Especially in light of Isom 1, the ill-advised arc having to really just establish a lot of stuff. Of course, number 3 really does do a good job of giving us more context into that. Of course, Garfield says that I'm wrong, unsubbed. Well, sorry to see you go. Let's see. I'm sure that's sarcasm. Yes, and of course that is sarcasm. But that's my perspective. And like I said, I think it would be really cool because we have the young Isom statue. Of course, you can. I'm so bad at pointing because whenever I'm on camera, but of course I've got the young Isom statue behind me by Iron Studios. It's just like it's a thing now. So like I just want like a young Isom comic book. And I think Jack Herbert would be the perfect person to do it. Of course, it's about getting Jack to be able to do it. It's about getting Eric to, set the time aside in his schedule to do it. But we got Scorpio04 in the chat. I think I've seen you before. But anyway, welcome to the stream. Nice to have you on. How about something like Isom confronting villains from his past during his younger days, and you can do some flashback panels? I mean, I guess you could, but to me, it's not like you couldn't do both. But for me, I think there is just so much you could do with a Young Isom series that it justifies its existence. That there is a really interesting story to tell in that period of time from Isom's, late childhood, from when he was a teenager, all the way to his fight with Shodron in Isom number 2. There's just so much you can tell there that having like a bit of having some flashbacks in the Isom ongoing series it just wouldn't be enough. And Garfield is saying that I made a good point. Focusing on the present is probably a bigger priority. Exactly. So I think having the Young Isom series would allow that to happen, which again, why I'm going to keep advocating for the Young Isom series to be a thing. But I also remember when you covered the Q&A with the Saskas, we might have a Zelen and Yaira encounter, perhaps. Yeah, it does sound like it would be a possibility. And since they're both interstellar characters, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. It's just that it seems like Zelen is making his way towards Earth. Of course, we know that's where Yaira is at. So there's a decent chance that happens, and we have a Zelen versus Yaira showdown, and they go to like the moon or something. They're out in space. I would say Zalen and Yaira is the one matchup that like I'm unsure of, but I think Zalen would win in a Zalen versus Yaira fight matchup. And we're supposed to be talking about the Horseman. But this is what I love about the Rippaverse is that we say, hey, we'll talk about the Horseman, but we just talk about like all this other stuff because you guys have all of these other things. Let's see. But Andrew said, I missed this one, that he bugged Eric on the spoiler stream for a young Harriet one shot. That would be an interesting one to see like how Harriet got her powers and everything. Zalen would one shot Gyra. Let's be honest, no competition. I'm like, I just think Zalen's got more power, man. He's just got it. If you can stop a ship traveling from light speed, like there's just no way, man. Like that is just so like awesome of a power to have. And I don't think Yaira quite has that power. I think she would be a formidable foe. I think Zalen would sweat a little bit in trying to take out Yaira, but I think he would get the job done. Well, our Wes recently did a video about compact comics for DC. You think Rippaverse would have been better off with that from the start, or is it better for commercial? Are you talking about like ash cans? I'm not sure exactly what you mean by compact comics. Are you talking about like the page count? Or are you talking about like them making ash cans, like the smaller formats? I don't have any on me exactly, like ash cans, like smaller ones. We talk about like All Caps Comics. They've done a bunch of ash cans, and that's a typical thing to do, like so you can get like previews, so you can get like one shots. But I think the model the Rippaverse has, where the releases are in that trade paperback format, where basically every book's been over 50 pages, other than the Rippazine. Of course, that concept art book was 16 pages as well. But the mainline books being the length that they are, I think is good. I wouldn't change that, and I don't think that's the issue with their business model. is the way they're putting out books. And certainly when I think Edwin's counted the numbers, they've made like over $3 million this year off the collection numbers alone. It doesn't include everything from the storefront. So I would imagine they're going to be by the end of this year, especially you take into account the holiday rush, because people are going to ask for Rippaverse books for gifts. People are going to get gift cards. You get, I mean, those things are like, so they really kill you on the fees. The Mastercard, Visa, like gift card, debit cards. But you've got those. People will get those. I'm sure some people will say, "Hey, I got like a $100, I got like a $50 gift card. Let me go to the Ripper site and buy some books." And you're going to have a bit of a holiday rush. So I would imagine they're going to make somewhere in the like the 5 to 7 million range in total in 2025. So they're a 5-figure business, and they're like in the not 5-figure. 7-figure business. So and they're consistently an 8-figure business at this point, with the amount of total money that they've made. So I think the way that they're doing it is perfectly fine, and I just want them to keep on doing more of it. Let's see. So no student of God, there's not the market. That's not the market we were aiming for with our books. The DC compact model is entirely different. It's all older material reprinted. And then DC released smaller trade paperbacks for $10. So that's what you're saying. But yeah, that's the thing, is that I think smaller trade paperbacks isn't necessarily something that makes sense. And I think the way they've been releasing books is good. Yeah, cheaper paper, smaller size. And I love the printing quality of Rippaverse books. So we've got this one. This is, of course, the 96 pager Horseman. And one of the things I love about the Rippaverse, and I never really mention printing quality in my reviews, because I think most people have printing quality down pretty well, at least of the books that I reviewed, very few. I think Hero Darky Dark had some resolution thing on the first issue of his book, but nothing too bad. But the quality of the paper itself has always been fine. Cover quality's always been fine. That's something that I find is down pretty well. And of course, Reverse, just like this cover's beautiful. It just feels so nice in the hand. Even Zalen had it had that oopsie, which I still enjoyed it. I read it in one sitting, as I do all the Rippaverse books. I was just like enthralled with that book. It's just such a freaking experience, man. And it's just part of that is it just feels nice to hold in your hand. So I wouldn't want them to compromise on the printing quality just so I could save a few bucks. I would rather pay the extra 3, 5, however much money it's going to be for each book, to get that higher higher quality of print. And I think most people are going to be like that as well. And of course, when you're operating at economy of scale, you're going to be able to make a high quality book for decently cheap, especially those cover Ds. See, I've had to turn some paper that's too thick, hard to turn the page. I mean, maybe that can be the case, but I don't really find that to be the case. And I think that might just be, with like books in general sometimes. But I always find it harder to turn pages when the pages are too thin, because I've got, if I can find it here, this is of course the Orthodox Study Bible, probably the most important book I own. Of course, it's the scriptures, and this is like 1,700 pages, and basically every Bible has got like these like tissue paper thin pages, just because there's just so many freaking pages to print. And I find it like hard to turn those. Although I haven't read this nearly as much as I should. I'm only on like Genesis chapter 15. But I was filming a bunch of Hump Day Potpourri with Doc. And last week and this week, we're doing theological discussions. So we just did a conversation on the 10 Commandments today. And I had it open to Exodus chapter 20, which is where the 10 Commandments are given. And then, of course, last week I had it open to Matthew, was referring to the footnotes, because the footnotes of this Bible are fantastic. It gives you a really good Orthodox perspective. And of course, it's got like beautiful icons and everything. I think it was because of COVID and paper shortages that they ended up with a heavy stock. I mean, it could be. But I'm sure they're still shaking off some of the COVID shortages. But I think honestly, we're at the point where most of that has like we've gone through that. And I think like the first, they said it was like 3 years. They said these shortages would cause, and we're 2 years past that or so. But yeah, I mean, of course, that was just the a really fun time where we just had to shut down human society because people were scared of the syphilis. But that's a whole other discussion. Man, I'm random rambling about stuff, and we ought to be talking about the Horseman. So I mean, we've been talking about a bunch of stuff, but this is why I love the live streams, because you guys come into the chat and you just talk about why whatever. So it's just a place for the fans to have fun, and that's what it really is all about. So of course, this collection made $371,000. The first Horseman collection made over 800,000. So you combine the two of them, the Horseman as a property is made over $1 million, and I'm sure Welcome to Floresburg, decent chance with the store sales, and I'm sure Andrew and Eric would know about this, would be probably decent chance made over $1 million, but that could be a bit generous. But probably is more in the range of like 9 to 950. But still, it's fantastic for a completely new property. But of course, when you got Chuck Dixon and Joe Bennett attached to it, makes perfect sense. Let's see. So Sir Book Sage is saying Isom's next issues need to be forward facing since Avery isn't licensed to accept. He'll need to navigate how to operate around Alpha Core. Hector faces his Alpha Core challenge from the opposite end. I agree, Sir Book Sage, which is why I keep on saying the Young Isom series should be a thing, so that way you can have Isom run forward, and then you can have young Isom really give us his context to his past. Since Hector will end up confronted by Xeps, he will end up with Solari paying him a visit. Yeah, I mean, of course, you had Blitz and Sturm, which we saw in the Horseman one animated pilot at the very end. I love their character designs, by the way. Fantastic. And of course, they got interesting powers. I think Blitz, I forget who's the chick and who's the dude. I think Sturm is the dude. Blitz is the chick. One can control metal. One's got like electric powers. If I'm even getting that correctly, I know Galvin's got electric powers, but they're both Xeps. Horse couldn't take them. Brax had to, Braxwell had to come in and save the day because, he's Braxwell. He's the best character in the Riververse. All Zalen, Braxwell's Pinky could take out Zalen. I mean, I'm just kidding on that one. But my theory for Braxwell, and, you guys can disagree with me, and, I guess we're talking about Alpha Core, and this is the Horseman. We're supposed to be talking about the Horseman. I'm going to talk about whatever. Since this is my stream, we're talking about Riververse. My theory for Braxwell is that Brian Solari is tasked with building a team for Alpha Core. He sees that Braxwell is on the police force and he's a good cop. And he's like, hey, let me put you through the mutations that me and my team went through during the war times. And then Braxwell does it. And he responds well. And he becomes the second member of the Alpha Core. That's my theory. I'm not sure if I'm right. Andrew will not say if I'm right, and he also won't say that I'm wrong. He'll say, that's interesting, if he says anything. The Horseman has been a prize racehorse in terms of sales and collection, post-collection, and at conventions. I imagine. It's such an interesting thing. And of course, you've got the con sales. I'm sure you guys track how much you sell at cons. And I need to track my physical sales. Actually, I have tracked my physical sales, but I need to track my stock of books that I've sold. When I sold them at Porkfest in June, oh man, so much has happened. They're sitting in my closet, and I haven't gone through. It's taken like the 10 minutes to count them and note them. So Blitz and Sturm, Chicken Dude, superhuman strength and enhanced durability, and metal kinesis, respectively. Oh yeah. Blitz has the metal kinesis, and then Sturm has the super strength. Get the cards. I have the cards. It's just like I just can't recall the information because I'm so because I've maybe slept. I didn't sleep at night. I slept in like the morning. I slept from maybe about like solidly from like maybe 8 to 11:50. Oh man, because I worked a 14-hour shift. Just a casual 14-hour shift. Blitz also have the power of having a great booty, which we can't understate. Scorpio certainly cannot. Of course, Joe didn't when he was drawing that scene. That's probably her best power. I mean, that would take out Zale for sure. Let's see. It's a hand in glove fit. He couldn't have created a more perfect character for himself. Talking about let's see, Chuck Dixon writing a hardcore vigilante. It's like, yeah, Chuck and Joe really, they just created the perfect character for themselves. And the fans are like, we're responding to this. And we certainly have. Of course, I love the character of the Horseman. I am really chomping at the bit to read Horseman #1. Bit hecked that I didn't get my shipment notification for today, but hopefully I get that soon. Hopefully I get it by sometime next week. So, next Friday I can put out the Horseman #1 review by next Friday. And of course I can cover the signed and graded copies because I got all of them, I believe, because those are #1. It's going to be more collectible than the ones that come after it. So I'm not going to prioritize getting, probably just do retro covers for signed and graded because it just isn't in the budget. Maybe, one day if I'm raking it in, then I can do that. But, of course, I got the pinned comment. You can support Velvet Room Publishing through PayPal. Of course, no obligation. I'm going to keep doing all the content. That's for free. Of course, I got the paid Substack. You got to pay for that, but that's the point of the paid Substack. But Braxcast is entirely free. The live streams, the pre-recorded videos are all going to be free. I want to be talking about Horseman on Braxcast as well, and that's going to be a bit more structured. I'll go over his Dokubon card. I'll go over some scenes in Welcome to Flores Park that I think are really cool. It's more towards the end of Welcome to Flores Park. And of course, that one scene where he's lying in bed and you see his, picture of his teammates as well. And I think that's going to be probably the stuff that's going to be most relevant to Horseman in Horseman #1, because a lot of it's just establishing his character, and that work is already done. It'll be called back to, but I think of what's really going to be called back to and expanded on is what happens at the end, what happens in that one scene. But anyway, that's me getting ahead of myself. Superhuman strength, not super strength. Very, very different. I'll have to read. I'll have to read both their Dokubon cards again to really understand that. But I can imagine superhuman strength. But yeah, superhuman strength is not like the same. I guess it's not as much as super strength, because super strength just implies like you have like the Zalen levels of strength, but superhuman strength means that you are not going to be as strong as as someone like a Zalen. But anyway, we've got like 13 people in watching, which of course it's not a lot for most people, but it's a lot for me. So I got a tiny little corner of the internet. The fact that you guys are here just really warms my heart. But yeah, there's just so much to speculate on with Horseman. I'm bad at speculating, but there's just so much to talk about in the Rippaverse in general. So I think we'll see Blitz and Sturm again in Horseman #1. Decent possibility. I'm not sure. Of course, they weren't killed because Alpha Core doesn't kill, so I don't remember them being killed. So they're probably in prison. And of course, decent chance they were taken to that prison in Yaira #1, where Yaira just busts in and breaks everybody out. I could be wrong on that. It could be me like spitballing, but that is, it's a distinct possibility there. Although I'm entirely unsure. So we could see Blitz and Sturm again, especially let's say they bust out and they want revenge on Horseman. I mean, I imagine they would want revenge on Braxwell more, but they might want to get back at Horseman because they see him as like contributing to killing Tuna and such. But I guess Michael Copper and Lillian, but they would just want to go after Horseman because why not? So that would be an interesting thing to see. But of course, it's since it's going to be an ongoing series, having Blitz and Sturm appear, let's say Horseman #5 or something like that later in the ongoing series, and Horse has to take them both out. He doesn't have Braxwell to come and save him. That would be interesting to see if he could take on those two X-Eps and actually win. I think if he had the proper planning, he could take out one of them. Maybe it would be a really hard fight. But yeah, I think both of them, 2 X-Ups is not one he could handle, but he's definitely got, I don't know, he's definitely going to be more able to take out X-Ups. He's going to be more likely to take out X-Ups, especially with proper planning, than, basically any other non-powered character. So A fight I would like to see: Isom versus Horseman. Who would win? You think if like Horseman came in with enough prep time, he could win against Isom? I think maybe. But definitely, Horse would definitely give Isom a run for his money. I don't think he would win though. But we've got Isom at the end of Isom number 3, especially like in the beginning of Isom number 3, but towards the end he gets his mojo back. But especially that beginning of Isom number 3 when he's basically powerless and he's getting his powers back, Horse probably would have been able to take him out pretty handily. But anyway, that is just me randomly speculating on the Rippaverse. So been going for about an hour. Of course, there's a bunch of other streams going on. I got 14 people in the chat. I think it's like a pretty good amount for me. So it's not like I want to like stop streaming. But if you guys have got like anything you want me to talk about specifically with the Horseman, Lapredo versus Blitz and Sturm would be interesting. That would really, really be interesting. But I mean, we had Lapredo versus Santo a bit Isom free. But Santo is really thrown off. But yeah, I think Lapredo versus Blitz and Sturm would be an interesting one. But more Lapredo would just be a really, really cool thing to see. Because that was, the lizard character in Isom number 3 was a really cool character. So just to see more of him, more fights. But yeah, the action is what it's all about. Good stream so far. I appreciate it, Andrew. I'm supposed to be talking about the Horseman, but I guess every time I get into it, you guys have all these other things you talk about, so it's hard to like set a live stream topic. Because you guys will just, and this is, I think, the nature of live streaming is that chat is just going to say stuff and then you're responding to it, and then you just get into the stream of consciousness that goes way off the boards. Speculate on what kind of Ripazine short stories could come down the road. I totally will. I think you could have a good short story about the history of Braxwell. That would be a good one. So you could have like a Braxwell short story. Of course, you're going to have like individual ones. So doing a new Ripazine character every time, while it's cool to have like new characters introduced with every Ripazine, it's not going to be the norm. So you're going to see a short story of the Ripazine that delves into an already introduced character. I don't think it would be Michael or Lillian since they're getting their own books. But I think doing like a Braxwell one would be pretty warranted since Ingrid is getting her own one. I forget, Az is writing it. I forget the name of it in Saints and Sinners. And of course, that will be pretty cool. So Horseman will get an upgraded suit in the next comic. Yeah, it seems like Cal is going to give him a bunch of gear and it's going to like power Horseman. I think Chuck actually talked about this. So, but yeah, I think a Braxwell short story in the Ripazine is, well, not one, it's warranted. More Braxwell is without question warranted. But I think it's something like that. So I think exploring characters that have been introduced in the mainline comics, if that makes sense to say, is something that's going to happen in the Ripazine. And then of course, you can always have like ongoing short story series in the Ripazine. So let's say Catch and Kill does really well. And then it's like, hey, Ripazine number 6 has Catch and Kill number 2. And it's another 15 or so pages of Catch and Kill. I think that'd be a really cool thing to do. To have like Ripazine short story series would be another cool thing to do. Let's see. So I think Horseman's number 1 fan is going to make him some great weapons. I wouldn't be surprised if Horseman gets better at fighting Xeps if he plans and has the proper weapon. Exactly. Especially if you know the weaknesses of Xeps. So we don't necessarily have like known weaknesses for a lot of Xeps because I don't think there's anything that takes like Brian's powers. Oh yeah, Yaira. Let's say Cal makes Horseman some like super infernal flamethrower. He would be formidable to Yaira. Of course, I think Yaira would be able to take him out even if he had a weapon like that. But if he had like a, let's say, supernova flamethrower that Cal makes him, it would give Yaira a run for a money. So stuff like that, I think would definitely be like really cool. So let's say in the ongoing series, you have like a fire Xept. Let's say you have Billy Bob Quinn, and he, gives him like a super powered fire extinguisher that he can spray at Billy Bob Quinn. That would make him much more able to take on a Billy Bob Quinn. You could have like a grounding suit for Galvin. I'm like, now that you got my mind on this, I'm connecting the dots here. So that certainly is going to be the case. So it's going to be really interesting to see what weapons Cal makes, how Cal is able, because I think Cal is 100% going to know that the Alpha Core are not letting Horseman be the Horseman. And he's going to say, like, I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to work around the Alpha Core with you. How is he going to do it? We got to read Horseman #1 to find out. I'm just really excited to read Horseman #1. I wanted to get that shipment notification today, but I'm sure, it's packaged up, sitting in the warehouse, and they'll pick it up on Monday, most likely. If I haven't gotten the shipment notification by now, it's most likely not going to happen. But hopefully I get it sometime next week. That's what I want. That's all I want, man. And then I'll have it I'll have it out before the weekend, which will be cool. But yeah, I mean, just doing stuff during the week is a bit brutal for me since I'm working all the time. Although, hopefully, the overtime ends soon, since it's the summer. That's a busy season for my job, for my full-time job. And yeah, but anyway, that's it. So Horseman teaming up with Gooding would be intriguing. Also, it seems like Gooding and Bloodroof and Isom are an unofficial team. Yeah, I mean, kind of, but to me, Gooding is just, he's going to work with whoever he needs to get the job done. That's my mindset about him, especially if you read, Gooding the Polymath. He's willing to work for that big corporation, to get him. I think it was Mindwire or Madwire. I can't remember the name of the company that he worked for. It's either Mind or Madwire. But he's just willing to work with whoever to get the job done. That's Gooding's mindset. Of course, he was willing to work for Michael and Lillian as long as he got paid. So, that gives him, like, he's got a bit more of a flexible moral compass than, say, Brian Solari does. And that does make him an interesting character. He says Mad Wire, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, I think it is. And I've got, actually, I've got the book. I've got the book right here. I have the short box under my desk, and we've got the book right here. So let's go and find out, shall we? Because I'm sure it appeared. And again, this is look at Will Conrad's fantastic art. Yeah, fantastic. But this is going to absolutely kill me if I don't figure out. So I look so like weird like. Let's see. So, let's see. Oh yeah, you're right, Garfield. It's on this page. I'm not sure you can see the lettering, but it's Madwire. So I was like, it's either Madwire or Mindwire, and it was Madwire. Oh, I accidentally put it in the wrong spot. Go there. There you go. Okay. Oof. Sorry about that. Yes. Fact check in real time. I appreciate that. But yes. So like I said, it's I don't have the best setup here, but it's a setup, and it's not like my old room was my childhood room, so it had like stickers and crap, and I didn't want to show that. But this is just. It's a nice office space. I spruced up a little bit with the posters. I got the bulletin board with the calendar, and of course, got the icon of the Most High Christ there. Very, very important. And I got that. I went to a Greek Orthodox church. I went there twice, like a big cathedral. Really nice. It's like 4 minutes from my place. But there's a Rocor parish that I've been going to that's half an hour away from me. It's really traditional. So hopefully, Lord willing, I get catechized there. But that's a whole other discussion. Let's see. Those Will Conrad panels are gorgeous, especially the panel with the skydiving ops in the Snowy Mountains. When I did my Gooding review, that's specifically what I showed off. This should say the art's fantastic. Hopefully, Will Conrad does more Gooding, because Mike Barron said he's working on it. Hopefully, he's working with Will Conrad, because it's just really good. It's really good work. Let's see. So, hot take from Well Read. So we shall check it out. But so Student of God always shares stuff with me, and we will go here, but we can actually, if you want me to do the audio for this, I gotta remove the screen. I gotta stop the screen, and then we can remove from studio, because those are the videos I used. Share screen, do the Brave tab. But yes, so let's see. Here we go. I'm not sure how much I want to get into this book and listen to just a little bit of the.
He didn't come in underestimating himself.
No,
And that's the mistake. That's the mistake that all the other people made evaluating Era July. They underestimated him.
I agree.
They said, this dude wasn't hired by Marvel. This dude wasn't hired by DC. He ain't no comic creator. You ain't working for Marvel. You ain't working for DC. This is social media. All right? This dude has trumped your game 3 times over before you even started playing it. All right? He came in, he knew he was the big dog, and that's the reason why he acted the way that he did. He played his position. And you didn't play your position. That was the problem. That was always the problem. That was always the miscommunication, the disconnect. He played his position. You didn't play yours. You thought you were still playing Nintendo. He was playing Sega Genesis.
Good.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's the problem. That was always the problem.
That is the problem.
Yes.
To this day.
Yeah. And you still haven't caught up to 16-bit. Okay?
Hey, look,
You're still on 8-bit.
You know what makes me angry? Like they'll say like, okay, his books are trash, whatever. And maybe his books are trash. I haven't read any.
Their books are trash. Everybody's books are trash.
You know, okay, we'll say everybody's books are trash. I like that. Well, everybody's books are trash. But I will say this.
Okay, well, yeah, that's definitely interesting. Well, I would say that the Rippaverse books are not trash. They're actually pretty good. I've read all of them. I like them. And if I didn't like them, I wouldn't keep reading them. It's simple as that. You know, of course, there are people who will read the Rippaverse books just to hate on them. More power to them. You know, of course, there are people like you got the geeks and gamers, neurotics of the world that'll commentate on Disney and the mainline stuff. I think it's because there still is, I don't say cultural relevancy, but those brands still have a lot of moving power, and to be a force against them, to speak about them, you know, it does have some value. But for me, if I don't like something, I'm not going to engage with it. That's just as simple as that. That's why I like the reverse, you know, or that's why I talk about the reverse all the time because I like it, and you know, they talk about stuff I like. Simple as that. And of course, you know, the political commentary I do on in the Velvet Room with Joker's a Fool, you know, I don't like what I talk about, but that's it. But soon the guy say he messed it off, he cut it up at the end. But I think he got the main point there. Again, and this is something that I did with ISIM #1. When you got like 30,000 email signups for that. And I was like, oh, day before it launched, I'm like, this book's probably gonna make like 500,000, and ends up making 3.7 million. And then when it was like, oh, we're done underestimating everything, campaign's gonna make like $5 million, so like overestimating a little bit. But the Riververse has been fantastically successful. Despite what people want to say, there's a very small, as Edwin says, portion of the internet that is enraged at the success of Eric July. And they will do anything they can to make it seem like he's like 2 steps away from bankruptcy. When that's certainly not the case. They're making money. They've got a good company. They've got a great business model, and they're using it to just tell good stories for the fans. That's as simple as that. And it's working, and it's one of the reasons why I do Braxcast is because I love this fandom that is being built, and I want to be part of it, and I want to contribute to it. And I just like talking about this. Again, I got 17 people here. Most of you guys are lurking, but you know, we got Garfield, we got Student of God, got Sirs Book Sage in the chat. I see you guys, you know, pretty regularly. I see people in my comments regularly, and I know I'm sure I got people who just watch the videos that I put out every Saturday, watch my reviews, you know, comment, but they still enjoy the content, and it helps them, you know, be part of the fandom, feel like they're in the sandbox, and you know, we don't have to worry about like overweight lesbians ruining everything as you do with Marvel, DC, and the mainstream. Let's see. I love the Rippaverse books. That's why I continue to buy them. I stopped watching Star Wars because I lost interest. I don't even watch it anymore to laugh at it. Apathetic towards it. Now that's exactly how I feel. Because I liked Mandalorian. I watched maybe the first half of the first season, and I liked it. And then all the Gino Carano stuff went down, and I pulled away from it. And it's everything I've heard about it. It's like, I wouldn't want to go and like commit to watching it. Only thing I'd want to watch on Disney Plus, actually, two things. It'd be the Beatles. I think it's Get Back. There's a Beatles documentary. I'm a big fan of the Beatles. I love the Beatles. I have. I actually showed this off on Braxcast when I was talking about like the record. I need to get a vinyl player, a record player. But this is the Red album. This is their early stuff on vinyl. 62 to 66, and then the Blue album, which I have on CD, is I believe like 67 to 70. Even though they stopped recording in 69 and 70, they didn't really record anything. Let's see, Lamau, overweight lesbian. It's so true though, man. But yeah. Let's see. Also, shout out to Gina. So yeah, no, definitely. I mean, hopefully Gina Carano does some voice work for Rippaverse Studios. That would be cool if she did. I believe she's met Eric July, so that contact is there. So it would be really cool. So let's see. First two seasons were a lot of fun. Sans like 3 episodes. Season 3 was meh, and that's one of the reasons. That's what I hear. Is that like it falls off after the first 2 seasons or so. Some people might even say the first season. It's like, well, if that's going to happen, then there's no real point in doing that. Of course, we call him Grogu or whatever. Baby Yoda, what everybody calls him. People love Baby Yoda. My dad loved Baby Yoda. I got my dad a Baby Yoda plushie, or whatever for Father's Day because he just loved the character so much. So but I never watched Rise of Skywalker. And everybody said I'm not missing out on anything. I don't think I would be. Let's see. Eric was supposed to go out of business last year, according to some people. Eric will continue to launch and fulfill projects. Exactly. And there are tweets, people saying it'll be like 3 years. Again, there are people who said that ISOM 1 would never be fulfilled, and it's been fulfilled. And you can go onto the site, you can order ISOM 1, and you'll get it in your door in your mailbox or doorstep or whatever, a couple of days, because they have an actual operation where they sell you stuff. They sell comic book and comic book accessories, and they make money off of it. Who would have thunk you could actually do that? It's not to say that like everybody can do what Eric did, where you front $200,000 to launch a book, it makes 3.7 million, you build a whole business off of that. It's not practical for most people to do, but he was able to do it, and he said he went and he just did it. And that's the thing that clip, the guy in the clip was getting at, is that people should have expected when you go and do that, and you just come in and say, yeah, I'm gonna put a 6-figure amount to make an actual comic book company, that it could actually have a good return on investment. And that's what happened. And he's using that money. He's not buying Lambos. He's not going to Miami and doing the stuff you do in Miami if you're rich. I don't want to say it on YouTube. He's using it to actually build a business. And it shows because people are engaging with it. We got War Shark Productions in chat. I don't believe I've seen you before. Welcome to the stream. Really nice to see you. Hopefully you are enjoying your time here. Hail to you as well. Garfield saying, could totally see Gina voicing some characters for Rippaverse alongside Dean Cain and James Arnold Taylor. Would be cool. I don't know who James Arnold Taylor is, but I'm thinking, I'm not sure if Caro, Gina, it might be, you think Tala would be a good character for her? I'm not sure if it would be Yaira or Ingrid, but I don't know. I just think of Tala, and I think she could do like that dignified voice. And it would be a pretty cool one to do. If you did I would love to see like an animated Zaylin. I mean, I'd love to see series for like all the books, but like an animated Zaylin, like let's say you get like a 30-minute Zaylin animation that covers What Kills Must Die would be really cool. I think if you got Gina to voice Tala, that would be cool. But let's see. Warshock has been in Rippa's shout out to Warshock. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Let's see. Oh, James Arnold Taylor voices Obi-Wan. He was at the Dallas Fan Expo with Rippaverse booth. Oh yeah. I think I remember. Did he voice Obi-Wan in like the Clone Wars? Because I remember watching that as a kid with my dad. Because my dad saw Star Wars when it came out in '77. And he watched he watched the whole trilogy when it came out in theaters. Of course, I was born in '98. So I did watch the originals, and I kind of grew up with the prequels. So I remember watching Revenge of the Sith, but the first movie I remember like really well seeing in theaters was the Clone Wars, that animated movie. And my dad and I, we would watch the show on, I believe it was Cartoon Network. And this is like 15 years ago or so. It's like, the late 2000s. So it was a while ago when that show was running in its heyday. We would watch that show, and so that was good memories. We also would watch Chef Emerald on the Food Network. We do like bam. My mom would make herky lurky because of that. But anyway, fun times. He's also doing voice work for Gabriel and the Guardians. You need to watch Gabriel and the Guardians. I need to get that Angel. I need to get that Angel Studios membership, and because there's stuff I want to watch in Angel Studios, including Gabriel and the Guardians. Mango is interesting. Didn't give us a whole bunch. I'd love to see like an actual size Tanglebon. Because that was just like 30-ish pages or so, probably like even less than that. And it was nice, but it just wasn't long enough to really give you a good deep dive into the world that they're building over there. And I watched the preview of it, and I liked it. Some of the animation was a bit stiff, but for a smaller studio, it's pretty good. And hopefully they get more Gabriel and Guardian stuff out there, because the content is good. There just isn't enough of it, whether we're talking about the manga or the anime, if you want to use those terms. But yeah, almost 90 minutes. It's gone by like that, man. Oh, man, I freaking tan still, because man, my job is like involved using my hands to like grab stuff, so my grip is absolutely shot. I still can do pull-ups, so still went to the gym today. Although my workout routines are disaster. Let's see, dude, you forgot to talk about Dean Cain. Democrats are so mad. So what did Dean Cain? Can you send me a link, student of God, specifically? He says Garfield is saying he prefers 2D over 3D animation, but 3D is definitely more efficient and cheaper. I agree. I like the Clone Wars style. I think that was done well. But yeah, a lot of 3D animation is just slop. But yeah, that classic. I mean, like Ghibli's the gold standard. That stuff is beautiful. And I mean, you got Nino Kuni, which is in the Ghibli style. Let's see. Yeah, Dean Cain being based as usual. So I'm sure. Let's see if we can't find what Dean Cain did to make the commies mad this time, because I remember one time, I think it was my favorite thing, because I wrote the whole book on gender ideology, and you can check out my Substack for that, debunking gender ideology and how to manage gender dysphoria. Of course, we got Dean Cain's Dean Cain All-American Lawman. I believe that was the first ever comic book review I did on Velvet Room Publishing. Fantastic book. And Student of God coming through for me with the link. Thank you so much. But let me see. We will share this tab instead, and hopefully we can play this. It's 22 minutes, but we'll only play a part of it.
Put that out there, and you put a little blurb on your. I wasn't part of ICE, but once I put that out there, and you put a little blurb on your show, it went crazy. So now I've spoken with some officials over at ICE, and I will be sworn in as an ICE agent ASAP.
Superman was literally an undocumented immigrant.
Oh yes, this is all so funny, and I guess I'll put myself in the chat in this era, and of course we'll say Superman was an undocumented immigrant. He stands for all the poor immigrant people. He was foreign. We'll see what this guy has to say.
And Dean Cain, now you've switched sides. You're gonna get that ICE badge, make some money, because probably you weren't making any money. You said it yourself. You were owed a lot of residuals, and you were told not to bite the hand that feeds you. Don't go after the corporate power that's been stealing from actors, from writers, because you know what? You don't want to upset anybody, but you will go after families, people who are trying to make a better life in America, who are working, but you're going to go after them. Superman represented truth, justice, and a better tomorrow.
I love how he doesn't say American way, which is the classic saying, truth, justice, and the American way. Yeah, so Democrat rage clips in this are so funny. I don't think I'll go for all of them. It's the typical stuff, man. This is just commies complaining that Dean Cain isn't kowtowing to the commie agenda, which I love. And I think Dean Cain was speaking out against transgenderism. And one person on Twitter said, "You were never really Superman." He's like, "Correct. I pretended. Just like you're pretending to be a woman when you actually are a man. So get out of the woman's bathroom. And you're freaking everybody out when you do that." Yes, couldn't even say the America because these people hate America. They're saying is no border, no wall, no USA at all. They predicate they hem and haw on us being on stolen land. They say America's white supremacist country. There's one person saying we're not moving to America because it's better. And it's like, well, then go to the place that's better. If you don't want to be here, if you think this country is fundamentally racist, if it hates anybody who doesn't look like me, or the one or two people are pacier than me, then go to the country that isn't oppressive, that isn't going to be inherently racist. But then, of course, they'll say, well, everywhere is racist because whiteness has invaded the whole world. You see, so I have to be in America and I have to complain about it all the time. So it's just complete nonsense. People live in La La Land, and again, there's a really nice video from Sunaga, and of course, I have my trepidations about ICE and everything. But it's just hilarious that like he's willing to get sworn in as an ICE agent. I'm sure it's not like he's going to be doing anything. It's just going to be an honorary title, but it's just funny. And I love it. I love it when stuff like that happens. And this is indicative of there being a shift in the culture. American Eagle put out the Sydney Sweeney ad, and then when all the lefties got mad about it, they put out the joke apology. They doubled down on it, which is pretty funny. Although I think that whole thing's a psyop, but that's a whole other discussion. So, War Shark Productions, to kind of steer it back onto topic here, let's say like slightly on topic, is saying that 3D has so much potential. I would love a Dirty Deeds animated series like Puss in Boots 2. Puss in Boots 2 is a mixture of 3D with 2D. It's brilliant. A mixture of 3D mixture of 2D and 3D. I haven't watched either Puss in Boots movie. I know Shrek 1. I've watched Shrek 1. Might have watched Shrek 2. I love the Shrek movies. I love like the original Shrek is a really good movie. Like and again, like that early 3D animation, it wasn't super advanced, so that they had to get the style down pat. Like you watch the original Toy Story, like it's stylistically on point. And of course the human characters look a bit weird and everything. So they could do with like remastering that movie but you wouldn't want to change. You just want to just up the poly count and like the faces and everything. You wouldn't want to do all that much to make the movie look to like radically change the movie. But modern day Disney, if they did like a Toy Story remaster, it would just ruin it. But yeah, Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2 are fantastic movies. And again, Shrek is like in that vein of like that early 3D animation where they didn't have the most amount of technology to pull it off. So they had to be really on point with how they did every frame. I haven't read the Dean Cain comic yet, but big congrats to Gabe Al-Taib. I certainly recommend you do that, Garfield. You can check out my review. It's like the first review I did of comics. And it's a great book. And of course, he's releasing a sequel to that. It's going to be the Hong Kong Connection because the way that, I don't want to spoil it, but it's a fantastic book. Gabe did a really good job. Akion is the artist he's working with, the penciler. And I think Gabe is doing, I'm not sure if I think Akion, I'm sure if he did the inking. I know he's doing the inking for Empyrean. So he was talking about that, but fantastic stuff that you're doing. And he's released like, 3 100-page books. And so he's working hard over there at Big Man Comics. And I would recommend you get in on at least Dean Cain. I'm getting on Empyrean. I'm going to review that when it comes out. Let's see. Watch the Last Wish Puss in Boots film. It's damn good, Joker. Way better than the first Puss in Boots. Okay. I'll put let's see, Last Wish Puss in Boots. I'll put that on my movie review list. So one thing you guys don't know about the Substack, I do movie reviews. So I do a written movie review at once a month as a paid perk. But I do the daily poll, and the first of the month I say what film should I review for this month, and I pick 4 movies, and then I let you guys pick. And if you're a paid subscriber, I times your vote by 10. And if you are not paid, you vote in the free poll, and then that's just 1. So it's been, but I don't really have too many people who engage with those polls. But yeah, certainly subscribe to the Substack and vote for those fairs. So saying Warfare as a movie I should review. Let's see. Actually, I ought to get a pencil. Watch Warfare, please. Okay, so let's see. I will put it on the list because I already got so. Let's see. So Warfare, and so is it 2025 movie? And then I'm going to say Puss in Boots Last Wish. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. No production quality. But yeah, I wrote those down. I'll put them on the list, and I will at some point review them. Actually, yeah, I'll probably put it on next month. So I'll put that on the September one, More Shark. And if you want me to guarantee to review it, then when I do that poll on September 1st, I'll put Warfare, I'll put Puss in Boots Last Wish. And then I'll pick 2 others from my movie review list because I've got a bunch. See. Also, looks like John's Long Box is doing a live stream of James Bond versus Indiana Jones on Clobbering Time today. I love that series that he does. That is a really interesting matchup, Garfield. And I think with that, no problem, War Shark. But yeah, so like I said, War Shark, subscribe to my Substack. You go to the description, the checkout, my links. But let's see if I can actually find it. We can go to Substack here and go. This is my creator dashboard. Actually, we can just go here. So yeah, this is the main site, but of course I'll put the link in there. So yeah, check out that link. And check out that link I've just put into the chat. That's my Substack. And you guys can subscribe. So I got all the reviews I put out here. And then this is, of course, the daily poll, which I used to do every day before 5 a.m. But now with working nights, it's been a bit of a disaster. And let's see. Thanks for the stream. I'll catch you cats later. You have a good one, Andrew. And I'm gonna probably end it here because I wanna turn on my EC and eat some food. To like do stuff that actually like nourishes myself. But you see, this is what movie should Joker review for August 2025. And as you see, I've got the main poll. This is the free poll right here. So you click on this, it takes you to a straw poll. And that will be the free poll. And this is the subscriber only poll. So this poll has closed, and I don't believe. Let's see. Show results. Yeah, nobody voted on this poll, which is like pretty typical for me. I get very little engagement. When these live streams happen, I get a bunch of engagement. But anyway, I will probably do Idiocracy since that one's free on YouTube and I want to watch it. So when nobody votes, I just choose a movie I want to do. But like I said, War Shark, if you're still watching, when I do this one and it says, September 2025, I will do that on the 1st of September. So subscribe to the Substack. I will definitely try and remember to put Warfare and the Puss in Boots movie, and you vote for that. And if you become a paid subscriber, then you get 10 votes towards that movie. So it's a thing I do for people who want to be fans. But see a great stream tonight, though I was late. I think you came in on a good time. Absolutely fantastic. I've been live streaming for over 90 minutes now. So I am going to end it here, guys. Of course, we ended up talking about like everything but the Horseman. We talked about the Horseman a little bit, but it seems like everything but the Horseman, which I'm absolutely okay with that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Plenty of other streams that are going on. I don't want to keep you guys from watching John or Zay Comics or whoever else you want to watch. So I think we've had a really fantastic stream. It's probably one of the best episodes of Braxcast Live. Hopefully we can have some people on. I'd love to talk like Edwin and Andrew. If Nick Weiser can come on, I'm sure he's lurking. But whatever. You guys have a fantastic night. Have a good weekend. If you get your Horseman #1, course, post about it. And I'll be back with Braxcast tomorrow. We talked about Rippaverse a lot. I'm good. I certainly am as well. So we are going to end it here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream, but Joker is out.